Hi, Ashley.
Hey, Robin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Awesome. I'm super excited today.
Why is that?
Well, the other day you and I were talking, and you and I decided that we needed to have somebody from the military on to give us some insight on what a day is in the life of a military personnel.
That was more your brainchild than mine, but I was like, we have to do that for sure. Because I know nothing about it, so.
It was not. You're the one who said we should have somebody from the military on.
Was I?
Yeah, it was your idea. And I said, hey, I know somebody.
Okay, well, you were the one who made it happen, so I give you most of the credit.
I am thrilled to have on Tyler Borst. He is my friend Pam's son, and I talk about Dan and Pam on the podcast every now and again. And the picture behind me is Tyler. I do want to let all of our listeners know that Tyler's discussion with us today is purely Tyler's own personal preferences, his own opinions. It is not the opinion of the United States government. Just wanted to let everybody know that. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
We are thrilled to have you. Right before we started recording, we were talking about the picture behind me. Can you give everybody a little idea of where the picture was taken, why it was taken, what it signifies?
So right after graduation, right after the tap out, when like your parents, or if you have a wife or something, they come down and basically just tackle you because they haven't seen you in eight weeks. So I went with my mom and Dan just around the base to see. I haven't seen it before, so that was actually in front of a security forces little memorial. And my mom loves pictures, so she's just like, oh, my handsome son needs to get a picture in front of that. And I was like, okay, whatever makes you happy, I guess.
Yes, and that's a true story. That is exactly what Pam would do.
Exactly.
Aww.
Every day-to-day life with her, so nothing
Maybe
new
we
to
should
me.
do daily life with Pam.
That would be a long, long podcast, let me tell you that.
When do we get to have Pam on then?
I know we should. Okay, tell us a little bit about the start. I vaguely remember, and by the way, I'm trying to wear Air Force Blue today. Did anybody notice?
Why didn't you tell me?
It's Air
Trying
Force.
to one-up me.
No.
I'm over here in like pastel. No, I'm just kidding. You look great in it.
Tell us what made you decide to, first of all, you're in the Air Force.
Mhm.
What made you decide to go into the Air Force, and any influencers that helped you make that decision?
Well, the real reason why I wanted to go into the Air Force was because all my friends were already going to college and everything. So I don't want to be stuck where I was, and I didn't want to wait for college because I'd have to wait a year to go. And my buddy Gage, he was the one who kind of got me into it and introduced me to it. So I just kind of started going to, we call it the DEP program. It's the delayed entry program. And you basically just go with your recruiter and you just learn everything you need to learn about the military and then getting prepared for basic. So he kind of showed me the way of the Air Force, I guess. But I don't know. It's just kind of a thing I jumped into, and here I am now. So it's just kind of I just jumped into it and said, what the heck? Why not?
Why not?
Exactly.
Ashley, I don't know if you know this about me. Maybe you do. Dan certainly does. Dan is Tyler's stepdad, and Dan was in the Navy. Dan and I went to high school together. He's one of my besties. And I was always so nervous for him about going into basic training. I thought that was the scariest thing. But something that most people don't know about me is that I either wanted to be a fighter pilot or a sniper.
What?
Yes. It's a true story.
And
Yeah.
I act surprised, but honestly, after thinking about it, it does not surprise me.
Yeah.
Sniper is so you.
Yeah, it actually is. I had a friend from high school too, and she also wanted to go into the military. At the time, though, the Army was not taking ladies for the infantry. Tyler, that's changed now, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, we have a lot of people here, like security forces, like our cops. Like I pull up to the gate, and there's plenty of females there.
Yeah,
So,
so I definitely missed my calling as a sniper. Anyway, I ended up not going into the military, but I certainly still always have definitely an American and have a super huge warm heart for everybody in the military services. Tell us a little bit about Basic, Tyler.
ooh, all right. So, I mean, I'm coming
So
from.
fascinating.
I was I was a spoiled kid all throughout my life, and Robin, you know that very well. So I never traveled by myself. So the flight from Minnesota to Texas was pretty scary because I didn't even know the people that I was flying with, and then we landed, and all of a sudden we're getting yelled at to get our papers
Yeah.
signed, and I'm sweating and I'm nervous, I'm shaking, just trying to get everything ready, and got my bags, and they're telling us to load up on the bus, and we don't even know where we're going. And everybody always talks about the bus drivers. The bus drivers are so nice, they're so inspirational. They're just like, it's just a rough part. Or I mean, it's not really rough. They're just like, it's gonna be tough, but you got to go in there with like a strong, positive head and do what you got to do. And then you're kind of sitting there like, what am I into? And then all of a sudden you get onto base, and then all of a sudden the MTIs just start hounding you. Like you're sprinting off. Everybody doesn't know, like they don't know what they're doing, and run around like headless chickens and trying to grab all their bags and everything. And it was it was rough in the start, but as the weeks went by and the bonds that you created from it was truly special. You got to see everybody kind of different backgrounds and everything, and learn about different people. And it was truly fascinating. I loved it. Like even though my mom packed a huge bag of Snickers in my bag that I brought with, and they saw that, and I got chewed out by 3 MTIs in front of everybody the first night there. So other than that,
At least it happened up front.
yeah, it was it was something else, something that I don't want to go through again, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a good life experience. I learned a lot from it. I was an element leader, so there's like 4 different element leaders, and they take charge, I guess, if you want to say that. So being put in a leadership role for the first time in my life was different. So I don't
Weren't
know.
you weren't you in a leadership role though when you played soccer? Tyler is a big soccer player. Didn't were you
Well,
captain? I mean, did that
I was captain when it didn't matter, but I was still captain. So
I
I'm
think it
gonna
still
say
matters. So
it.
that a little bit prepared you.
Yeah.
What about the physical challenges of basic training, which is what I was really afraid of, even though I was not an athlete in high school, but I ran track or jogged track and played basketball. I was active, but I wasn't really active. I didn't do sit-ups, push-ups, any of that kind of stuff. Tell us about the physical challenges because you do hear about that.
Yeah. So when I went in, I already like they let you know like what the requirements are before you actually go to basic. Every day you're out on the PT track, so either doing like strength training like push-ups and sit-ups and like the like kind of like CrossFit type training but without weights, so it's just like kind of like cardio. But then the other day is you're running, you're running for, I don't know, like 45 minutes. So
Oh my gosh.
I said I'm out.
yeah. It's, I mean,
I
I'm
like
not a
running, but I
huge
can't do that
runner.
long.
Yeah, like I played soccer, so you'd think running isn't an issue, but whew, I tell you that
Running
mile and
when
a
you're
half run is something else.
running when you're just running is not fun though. Like running when you're playing soccer, at least you have an objective. But I mean, I run every day pretty much, but I don't like it.
Yeah, it's
Do
it's
it
not
just
fun,
to stay
especially like
fit.
yeah, the track that we run around was super small, so you're literally
Yeah.
running around in circles with like 100 other people, and you kind of gaggled all together, and it's not enjoyable. No music, no nothing. You're
Oh,
just
see, that would be
running
the
around.
hardest part is the no music. Because that's how, I mean, I feel like for me it improves my running. So I think I would get tired out super easily.
Yeah, especially like when they have like a little clock,
Hmm.
so it tells you how long you've been running.
Hmm.
Every time you pass it like every like 30 to 50 seconds. And every time you're seeing your time just like go up by like a minute, and you're like, man, I still got 30 minutes out here.
Do they yell at you if you stop running? Or are you
Yeah,
able to run it for 45 minutes straight?
you cannot walk. Yeah, so you're out there running the entire time.
But you did it. You must have overcome that challenge and you succeeded.
Well, I was kind of bored, so I had nothing else to do. So
But you still did it.
I
But
did do it.
still, that's a mental hurdle that a lot of people can't get over. For me, when I get bored, I lose motivation. So I don't know if you, Robin, do you?
Oh yeah. When
When
I'm
you're
bored,
bored?
yeah, I'm like a squirrel. I'm all over
Yeah.
everywhere. When I'm bored, I need to flip something
Yeah,
else.
instead of like I don't hyper focus when I'm bored
Mm-mm.
typically.
So you passed boot camp.
After boot camp, uh, we had this thing. They don't do it anymore. It was just Airman's Week. So you went there. It was to like get you used to civilian life again, but it really wasn't. It was just like a week of training, basically. You just like sit there, like go through slides and everything, and learn about, like everything about the military again, and then civilian life and just basic common life things. And after that was up, you figured out where your tech school was. So then they gave you orders. Luckily, mine was in Lackland still, where we uh, were at basic training. So I didn't have to move too far. So that was tech school. Um, and then after tech school, once you graduate, you get orders to go to your actual, like your first duty station. So mine was actually, it was supposed to be in Japan, but
Oh my gosh.
I
Cool.
I didn't I wasn't feeling Japan, so I traded mine for, and that's where I'm now. Yeah, deployments are just, you're either voluntold for it or you volunteer for it.
Hmm.
So
Gotcha. How long are they typically?
what I did out in was not like a normal, we call it AFSC, it's your job. Um, it was basically just like a little special, I don't want to say special duty, it was just something that they needed out there. So we basically worked on construction.
Well,
Uh,
I did some research, which nobody is surprised about,
mm-mm.
before Ashley and I talked with Tyler today. And some of the questions that I looked up was what is basically the easiest branch of the military, which was the Air Force, who has the best food, which one has the most rigorous. I learned a lot about the Navy SEALs that I knew, I did know a lot of their information, Marine information, but I never really knew much about the Air Force information. What is the main duty of the Air Force for the United States?
That's a good question
So
that I don't know.
basically, it's fly, fight, win. So however you want to take it, that's how you take it. It's literally anything to do with air, like air power, and generate air power. I don't know.
I think
It's
that should be the Air Force's new motto.
Air power.
Air power.
Air power to generate
you did
air
it.
power.
Yeah.
That's what we like to
Nailed
see.
it.
It's like we're basically the eyes in the skies, but now we have Space Force, but that goes beyond.
Eyes of the sky. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I-
So
yeah.
I mean, depending on where you are, I don't ever see that because I work in a warehouse. But
Hmm.
um,
That's a good question. What does a duty station entail? It sounds like said you did construction and now you work in a warehouse. So it sounds
yeah,
like there's other duties. I mean, I don't know anything about the military, so I just assumed, because I'm, I guess, ignorant, but I just assumed that you guys were like on a battlefield all the time, which I wouldn't make sense.
so when I went to, we did force protection, and you basically just escort people to
That's cool.
different sites that they need to do, and they're local nationals. So there's workers from like Nepal and Bangladesh and everything.
Mhm.
So you just escort them to either construction zones. You escort them to go clean bathrooms,
Mhm.
or they do stuff on the flight line. Um,
Wow.
that was a lot different than here because is actually turning into a PCS base that you can actually go to. It's just like you're anywhere in the States.
Mhm.
So the difference between is you don't really have to worry about being attacked or anything like that. Like the odds of us being attacked, knocked on wood,
Right.
are very slim.
Mhm.
But obviously, there's still that chance.
Right.
But it's just basically fulfilling any mission because, like, the hub that everybody like goes to, it's the largest base that we have in the Air Force, and people come here for deployments and stuff like that. They always come through, and we're always having different things shipped out. So, like, an actual duty station is just, yeah, like I said, I'm at a loss for words. I know what I'm trying to say, but
Well, it's also 1:30 over there, and when it's 1:30 over here, I don't function at all.
No.
I'm trying. I'm
Like
trying.
I can't even
I'm trying.
speak at 1:30 at night.
Yeah,
Like
it's,
dead to the world, so I get it.
yeah, today's been a pretty rough day too. So I've been like on the
Yeah.
go all day. So, um,
Well, thanks for making it happen then.
oh,
That's a
I mean, I
testament.
didn't really do anything special. I'm just trying to get in process into the base again.
Tell us
So-
about the food. I hear about the food and the chow halls. Yeah, is it good food? Is it normal food that you would get anywhere? Like meatloaf, mashed potatoes, gravy, beans, spaghetti, pizza.
So I'm gonna just give a quick shout out to our cooks that every branch of the military, because I know it sucks because sometimes we come in and we're a little angry and kind of give you attitude and everything.
Mhm.
But I know they do their best with what they got. And granted, not everything is made from scratch. Like, we have eggs that I'd say a solid 75% of the eggs that they make in like the microwave is water. And it's disgusting. But the food in general is pretty nice. Going through basic training, that food was it was nice to me at the time because it was food and I could get as much as I wanted. But looking back now, whew, man, there's no way I would go back to that. But out of basic training, I would say it's edible. It's edible, so you can't really complain. But
Stamp
I
it.
would not.
Do you make your own food then? Do you go out to restaurants?
So
So you're out of basic training. You don't have to eat on base, do you?
no, you don't have to.
So you can make your own food or you could go out to eat just like normal civilian life.
Yeah.
And you can
So,
pretty much just wander off of base whenever you want, or like, do you have a lot of freedom as far as like coming and going? I mean,
So-
you have a lot of, you're American, but you have a lot of freedom.
So yeah, we do have a lot of freedom. Like, I could go off base right now if I wanted to. It's 24/7.
Nice.
There's nothing to really worry about except for COVID, but that's not relevant to, like everything. 'Cause before COVID, it was the same thing, but
Mhm.
um,
Tell us about travel. I know that you've done some traveling since you've been in Germany. Give us some details on is that normal for I was going to say the military. Is it normal for people on your base to get together and go out on trips together, see different areas of Europe? Tell us a little bit about travel.
for sure. I know one of my first buddies that I met out here. He introduced me to a lot of stuff. So that was the first time I went off base, and we went and got Vietnamese food. Um, and then as we started getting closer and everything, he started taking me along on trips. Like I went to the Czech Republic, to Prague. I went to Switzerland. I've been to Mallorca in Spain. I've touched France. I mean, France is like a drive from here. Switzerland
That's
is like,
so crazy.
yeah, it's just great. Like,
Everything's so close.
I'm on R&R right now, so it's like I could touch so many countries in one day. France is right next to us. Then we got Luxembourg and Belgium. So everything you can drive. And since we have the Autobahn, it's like you don't have to worry about how fast you're going. You can just drive as fast as you want. So
What's the top speed you've hit?
I've hit out here.
Yeah, on the
Um, I've almost topped out. So I hit around 200 miles an hour.
What kind of car was it in?
It was in Volkswagen Jetta 2016.
Nice.
Yeah, so a
I'll
little
put
thing can
miles
go.
of yours at this part of the podcast, so she doesn't hear that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was driving like 100 miles an hour like it was nothing when I picked her up from the airport. She was like, "Oh my God, T, slow down!" Like my grandma or something.
Hey, that's normal for them. They're like,
Yeah,
this is nothing. That's American.
I have people passing me like, there's like a 98 hatchback that just is zooming down, just passes me. I'm like, I'm already going like 120, and you just come by me like I'm nothing.
Do you see any cool cars on the Autobahn, like Lamborghinis or anything that are just like racing? That would be so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of foreign cars out here, especially once you get into like when we touched in France for a little bit. There was a Bugatti that I saw. And
Oh my God,
that was
that would
pretty
be
cool.
amazing.
It wasn't on the Autobahn. It was just cruising down the street. But a lot of people on motorcycles that don't care how fast they're going. So
No.
and people drive pretty reckless on the Autobahn. You're like bumper to bumper going 150 miles an hour. Like they don't care.
This may be a stupid question. Are there lanes on the Autobahn, or is it just like a big strip?
So on the Autobahn, there's 2 lanes, and they're pretty strict. So the right lane the left lane is only used for passing. So that's the only time that you can use the left lane. You can actually get fined if you're actually driving on the left lane, and you have an option to go on the,
I
the right lane.
honestly, I like that rule because I've been in cars where I'm in the left lane driving passenger, or I'm not driving. I'm the passenger and the person is driving in the left lane and people are passing us and it just pisses me off. So I'm okay with that rule.
Yeah.
Get out of the left lane if you're not driving. I'm like, everyone's looking at us.
Yeah, the Germans are, first they don't take kind to Americans because.
Really?
Yeah, there's some that like us, but the more you get out away from like our base, it kind of just gets worse and worse. In Germany, everywhere else is pretty fine. Like Switzerland is awesome.
Do you feel like, well, I mean, you said you didn't go to Japan, but do you feel like you've been able to pick up the language pretty easily, or is that something you're interested in?
Yeah. So where I actually work with four. So we have both Americans and, but they're civilians, so they're not military. But yeah, they love helping us out with, obviously, like they teach us kind of the bad words because that's kind of what that's what they call us all the time. Like I walked in today,
There you
and my favorite civilian was like, "Oh yeah, here we go again. Didn't miss that." Yeah, they really like helping out to teach the language and everything. So it's easy to understand. I mean, for me at least. Other
Mhm.
people can't really pick up on it, but
Yeah, it's just interesting because I mean, you're pretty. At some points, it sounds like you're immersed. I've always heard that learning the language is a lot easier if you're always around it. So I went on a trip to Germany. Well, it wasn't a trip to Germany. We just flew through there and we stayed for a little bit. But I was on is it just the metro? Like they just have a train, right? What is that
Mhm.
called over there? We were on that, and it was so cool. The words are really long over there.
yeah,
Like they're like huge words. They're like 12 letters long, all of them. So
just for like something simple, it could be
yeah,
like it's like
like
the,
stop.
and it's like
Yeah.
something. It's just so long.
People say that it's like kind of a harsh language, but I think it's actually kind of pretty.
It is like depending on what words you use. Like the
Yeah.
word like when I speak German, it's not harsh at all. It's pretty
Mhm.
fine. It's
Tell us what you do outside of work. So when you're done with your shift, what do you do?
um well, so you want me to talk about like before COVID happened?
Yeah, let's talk about before COVID, a
Well,
normal
yeah,
day.
I did technically just get back, so that makes sense. So normally, I would get off of work. I would come back. I'd make myself a little meal because I love to eat all the time, and I would either sit and play video games for a little bit, study some homework, I guess, for my job. I would spend a little bit of time reading. I'd go to the gym, come back, eat again, and go to sleep. And it's just kind of my life. Weekends was different. Weekends was a lot different. But
Tell us about the weekends.
so the weekends we would go out to. There's this little town called that's 15 minutes away from here. Most people go there to drink or get hookah, just kind of hang out and stuff. So I'd go there with some buddies, and depending, we'd get back around like midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning, depending on how the night goes. So
Oh my goodness.
if we weren't doing that, then we were out traveling. And if we weren't traveling, then we were at my buddy's house, just kind of chilling, like drinking beer, having a bonfire, and having like a little cookout and stuff.
That's the life. And
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Especially the sunsets. Like when we would have a bonfire, we would just sit out right in his front yard and just watch the sunsets because they're gorgeous. They're so beautiful, especially from his house.
It's a really pretty country too.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing. Minus the no AC, but
What? Does it get hot there though?
oh yeah. When I first got here, my first year here, well, last year, it was the hottest summer they had. Don't quote me on anything, but it was like 10 years or something like that. It got up to like, I think it was 115 degrees. So no AC, you're sitting there in your
Oh
uniform.
gosh.
Yeah, it is.
It's not
Especially
even
the
that
room.
hot in Nashville. It's not even that hot in Panama City, in Florida, where I'm from.
Yeah, it gets brutal sometimes, but
Do you think it was a heat wave though because you were there, Tyler?
I think so. I just make everything just melt. Step foot on this base and it just went all downhill.
Anything else you want to tell our listeners about military life?
I feel like there's a lot I could say. But
Is it an experience that you've enjoyed overall, looking back? So your 50 or 70-year-old self, do you think that you will look back on this experience and be really happy that you did it?
I will because I got out of the house when I was 18. I started living on my own ever since then, doing my own laundry, cooking my own food, having to actually take responsibility for myself. So especially being overseas, which I think everybody should do. Like it's just about the experience. I feel like 2 years is enough overseas, just because living on base is something else. But just the experience. I never thought I'd be able to travel in Europe, and I could have gave that up. There was somebody with orders to Grand Forks, North Dakota that I could have taken. And I was hesitant. I was thinking about it because I wanted to be home, but I'm thankful I didn't because, I mean, one of the reasons is because when I first got here, I was able to go buy my own alcohol at 18 and walk back. I was like, I can't do that back in the States. It's crazy.
Good. I'm
No.
glad it's been a good experience. What is the next phase for you, or what are the next steps for you in the military? Are you going to go somewhere else? How does that work?
So I still have another 10 months in Germany, and then that's when I PCS to my next base, hopefully stateside. We're hoping. We're just kind of riding the wind right now. I'm just kind of letting life take me wherever it wants to go. So
Do you get to choose where you get to go? Or do you get like 3 options or 5 options?
So you get what's called the dream sheet. You can pick up to 5 bases that are stateside and 5 bases that are overseas. Not a guarantee that you'll get whatever is on that sheet. You might not even get any of those bases that you put. It honestly just comes down to the mission and what they need. That's honestly the military life. It's whatever the mission requires is what it's going to take. It doesn't matter what you want. It's what the military wants for you.
Is there a
So-
most popular base that gets like requested the most?
I would like to say Ramstein, but
I've heard Germany from other people in the military is the best place to be. So
yeah. So Germany is pretty okay. The UK, a lot of people like. Other than that,
Where can you tell us where your top 5 picks are in the US and then outside of the United States?
have you thought of it yet?
I have been thinking, and I don't want anything overseas. I've already been to I've already been to I'm 21, or well, I'm not 21 yet, I'm soon to be, but 20 years old, and I'm going places I never thought I would be. So I'm kind of done with the overseas. I'd rather come home. I've done it. I feel like, I stepped in, I did what I had to do, and I'm retiring from overseas. So
So
I'm
where are
hoping
the
to come
top-
back.
Where are the top 5 in the United States?
So I know I would get a lot of crap for saying this, but I do want to go to Grand Forks, North Dakota, just because it's close to home, and I have some buddies who are going up to the University of North Dakota up there. And one of my buddies wanted me to go there because I want to get into the HVAC business. So that's part of the reason. Alaska would be a cool one. I'm not really considered.
Alaska.
It was considered overseas, but I think they changed that. I haven't-
How was Alaska considered overseas?
Alaska and Hawaii were considered overseas. I have no idea as to why. They might have changed it. I know they were talking about it.
Yeah, maybe they need to talk to me about how this is considered overseas.
I mean, if it is an overseas base, that just means I'm getting paid more. So
True, that is true.
Yeah.
fine by me. But no, Grand Fork, North Dakota, Alaska, North Carolina.
They're all very different too.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been on like the East Coast, so I thought that'd be pretty cool. I've never been to Alaska, and if I don't get those, then at least I'd be close to home.
Mhm.
So there's nowhere else I'd really want to go. Maybe Arizona, maybe.
Okay, well, wherever you go, I'm sure that Ashley and I or Pam and I will be visiting you.
Oh, for sure. I'll have a home to stay in, so don't have to worry about that.
All right. All right, Tyler. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I do want to let all of our listeners know that Tyler's discussion with us today is purely Tyler's own personal preferences, his own opinions. It is not the opinion of the United States government. Just wanted to let everybody know that. Tyler is not representing the United States government, but he sure is cute for the United States Air Force.
You're gonna make him blush.
Yeah.
It's okay. They can't see you.
Yeah.
No, they can see you. They're looking at Robin right now, though.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, no problem.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Tyler, for representing what military life is like. We really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. And until next time, stay awesome.
And keep reaching for your anything.
Goodbye.